Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are cracking open the ultimate recipe book, the one that tells us how to build every single living thing on Earth from just a handful of chemical ingredients.
Now really, have you ever thought about it? If you could zoom way down, past your skin, past your organs, and right into a single one of your cells, what would you actually find in there? What's the stuff that makes you, well, you?
You know, it's kind of mind-blowing, but all the complexity of life, everything that makes us alive, really just comes from a small team of chemical compounds. So today we're going to meet the 5 essential building blocks that make up every cell.
All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to start with the one thing that's everywhere, and then work our way through the fuels, the workers, the batteries, and finally, the master blueprint of life itself. Let's get into it.
First up, we've got the unsung hero of biology, the very stage on which the drama of life unfolds, water. I mean, it's not just some liquid sloshing around, it's the entire environment inside a cell. So here's water's superpower. It's polar. All that means is that the oxygen atom is a little greedy and pulls the electrons closer, giving it a tiny negative charge. That leaves the 2 hydrogen atoms with a tiny positive charge. And that little imbalance, it's the secret sauce behind almost everything that makes water so essential for life.
And check out what that polarity can do. It lets water dissolve all sorts of stuff like a universal solvent, so nutrients can get where they need to go. Its molecules love to stick to each other, that's cohesion, and they also stick to other surfaces, which is adhesion. Put those two together and you get capillary action. That's how a giant redwood tree can defy gravity and pull water hundreds of feet up to its leaves. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, don't let this number scare you. It looks complicated, but it stands for something you experience all the time. This is water's specific heat capacity, and it's incredibly high.
So what does that mean for you? Well, because your cells are mostly water, your body can soak up a ton of heat, say from a workout or a hot day, without your internal temperature going haywire. It's like having a built-in biological thermostat that keeps everything stable, absolutely crucial. All right, let's talk about our first big organic molecule, carbohydrates. You can think of these as the cell's gas station, the go-to spot for a quick burst of energy. But they're also used as building materials.
Carbs are made from just 3 elements, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and they usually follow this really neat 1:2:1 recipe. The simplest units, their building blocks, are what we all know as simple sugars.
And here's the wild part. All these different carbs, from the sugary glucose in an apple, to the starchy goodness in a potato, to the super tough cellulose that makes up a tree trunk, they're all built from the same simple sugar blocks. The only thing that changes is how they're connected, and that tiny change is why you can get energy from a potato, but you definitely can't digest a log.
So how do cells link these sugars together? They use this really smart process called condensation. Basically, 2 little sugar molecules line up, the cell snips out a water molecule from between them, and snap! The 2 are bonded together, forming a bigger, more complex carb. Okay, next up are the absolute workhorses of the cell, proteins. Seriously, if your cell was a giant city, proteins would be doing almost every job imaginable. They'd be the construction crews, the mail carriers, the factory foremen, even the security guards.
Now, take a look at the ingredient list here. See that new player? Nitrogen. Along with the usual C, H, and O, nitrogen is the secret ingredient. It's the defining element of amino acids, which are the little building blocks that chain together to make every single protein.
Here's the most important thing to know about proteins. Shape is everything. A long chain of amino acids folds up into a very specific 3D shape, and that unique shape determines its exact job. It's so precise. They build your hair, they speed up chemical reactions, they carry oxygen in your blood, they literally do it all.
Okay, on to lipids. You probably know them as fats, oils, and waxes. And yeah, they're great for storing energy for the long haul, but they do so much more. They form the actual barriers, the membranes that hold the cell together. They insulate us to keep us warm, and some even act as powerful messengers, like hormones.
So lipids are made of the same stuff as carbs, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, but they have way more hydrogen packed in there. This structure is what makes them hydrophobic, or water-fearing, which is just a fancy way of saying they don't mix with water. Think oil and vinegar. And it's also why they're such an incredibly dense way to store energy. And the difference between a solid fat like butter and a liquid one like olive oil, it all comes down to the chemical bonds. Saturated fats have these nice, straight chains that can pack together really tightly, making them solid. But unsaturated fats have at least one double bond that puts a kink in the chain. These kinked chains can't pack together neatly, so they stay liquid. Simple as that.
And finally, we've arrived at the boss, the director of the whole show, the information molecule. Nucleic acids are what hold the actual code of life itself.
Now, there are two main types here, and they work like a team. You've got DNA, the famous double helix. Think of it as the master blueprint, locked away safely in the head office. Then you've got RNA, which is like a temporary, working copy. It carries the instructions from the blueprint out to the factory floor, so the cell can build the right proteins.
So, how in the world do you fit literally meters of DNA code inside a tiny microscopic nucleus? Well, the cell has this amazing packaging system. The long DNA strand wraps itself around these little proteins called histones, kind of like thread around a spool. Then, the whole thing coils up super tightly into the structures we call chromosomes. It's a masterpiece of data storage.
So, let's just pull it all together. You've got your carbs for quick fuel. You've got your proteins, the versatile workforce where shape is everything. You've got lipids for long-term energy storage and barriers. And you have the nucleic acids, holding all the instructions. It's just 4 types of organic molecules, plus water, all working together in perfect sync.
You know, it is just incredible to think that this exact same chemical toolkit builds everything from a tiny little bacterium to a massive blue whale. It is the universal language of life. And that really makes you stop and wonder, if this is the toolkit, what else can we build with it? What does the future of life, built from these same simple blocks, even look like?